When you try to intentionally shift how your energy is flowing, putting pressure on what the outcome is that you want, that you're trying to get to, all you do is create resistance. And so this is something that I have noticed a lot in myself. I've noticed it in my clients, and I've noticed it just in other people in my life. We're all trying to live our best life, right? Be our best selves and everything. And we have a lot of tools, reframe your thoughts. For some people that works, that doesn't work for me. And there's other things that you can do, like go for a walk. And then there's some things that take less time that are somatic through your body. I call them energy resets, but some people talk about vagal toning or nervous system regulation or fitness, that sort of thing, where you do some kind of somatic thing. Take a deep breath work. There you go. To create a result. And it doesn't really quite work like that. When you use it to shift energy within yourself and experience that first, the results will come. But I found myself the other day, I woke up, and actually it was this morning of when I'm recording this actually. And I woke up and I had a little bit of a headache, so I wasn't in the best frame of mind and stuff. And I was doing this. I call them energy resets. Doing it because I wanted a different outcome for my day. I wanted a different thing. And the more I did that, the less progress I made. I wasn't shifting anything because I had the wrong energy behind it, which is kind of funny because we're talking about shifting energy. And so I want to share with you what my experience is. And for anybody who doesn't know who I am Trisha Edwards. I am a 6'2" generator. I have emotional authority. And one of the things that come up in this story is my gate 22, which is my unconscious earth. That's how I ground myself. And it's in my emotion center, the emotional solar plexus. I'm defined there. And how it kind of comes into play with everything. But I really want to talk about the somatics, the body parts, for the most part of this. And so this is something that's for the inner studio. So if you're in the inner studio, hi. And if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, I'm happen to be sharing it in both places. You can come to the inner studio. It's where I share my worlds, my experience. So, because one of the things that I have found is you can have all the knowledge, but until you get the lived experience, and whether that's your own or somebody else's, because I learn equally from my own and from others. And when I see it in others, I start to be able to see how I can see it in myself. And that's what I'm offering, that you can come in. It's distraction free. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And I'll drop the link in here if you're on YouTube. And if you're in the inner studio, I got some good stuff that comes around this one. So that you can go and access right now. So let me... I'm going to share with you a little bit. This is the inner studio, by the way. So I want to share this article that I wrote, and it's in our Body Led. So it's all about the body. And I wrote, it's a shift, not a result. This is a summary of the emotional wave I was experiencing on a Sunday morning. It's actually today as I'm recording this. I had awoken with a headache, one of my favorite times to turn up my awareness. That may seem weird, but this is how I actually reduce the number of migraines and the severity of migraines. I went from having 7 to 9 a month I was in massive pain in bed and everything. And so now I don't have them very often. I've even gone a whole stint of 6 months and never had a single one. And now if I do have them, they're pretty minor. But the thing that I did today in mine is very similar to what I did when I started. And I'm not saying that if you do this, you're never going to have migraines. There's lots of reasons why somebody might have a migraine. There's so many, no one fully understands it. But what I'm saying is that my quality of life had changed. And because my quality of life had changed, my migraines that were stress-induced changed too. And that's really what it is. And you don't know where this is going to show up. You just know that there's going to be a change. And it really kind of goes along with what this whole point is. All right, what we're talking about here. And I've used this to attune myself more into myself. One of the most important things I gained from this was around the purpose of an energy reset, also called somatics, vagal toning, nervous system fitness or regulation. It's not to immediately change your thoughts, perspective, or results, although it does do that, like what I was just saying. When you force an energy reset, it puts pressure on to create something new. It's met with resistance. Yet when you do it because you know it will internally create a shift into your rhythm, it's effortless. This morning, I was efforting. And then when I realized what I was doing, then I changed it. And I did write a whole story about it. I forget which one I have. I have a whole story here that I wrote about it. I do this to myself. One of the reasons why I do this is because it helps me to understand myself. So you can see this is what I was experiencing, but in a more poetic way. So it's a little bit edited, of course. But it helps me to understand and put context around what I'm learning and what I'm studying within myself, because a study of me is going to be my lifelong passion. So I guess you could say it's kind of like a journaling exercise. And so I have a little summary here of the full wave and how it's happening. And like I said, in human design, I have emotional authority. That means I ride a wave. And one of the reasons why I practice these energy resets, I have a flow routine, that a couple of them now, that I do every single day, whether I think I'm stressed or not. It's kind of like you might go for a walk every single day because it's good for you. Brush your teeth every single day because it's good for you. It's just that. And I have a pocket full of easy ones I can do that from either from 30 seconds to 3 minutes, that for when I'm in the moment and I want to shift something within me, or I feel that fear and I want to ground myself and bring myself out of that, instinctual, like life or death kind of way of being. Now, but today I knew that I was in this funk, and it was partially because I had a migraine, and I know that I'm in a funk, and I was kind of annoyed at something that was just really simple and silly. I really didn't bother me, but I felt annoyed. And the thing is, you have that feeling within you. It's a real thing to your body. It's a real thing to your mind. You can tell yourself, you can, use your logic to explain it, to reverse it, to reframe it, but your body is still experiencing it. And that I knew. So I did an energy reset, and then I didn't notice a difference. And I did notice a difference, but it wasn't the difference I wanted. I think that's more what it was. And then I ended up right back in that loop. And so it was this loop just kind of going around and around, like every few minutes I get annoyed again. And it might have been at something new, but it's the same annoying feeling that's just really happening. I don't know if you ever had one of those mornings where, everything that just nothing seems to go your way, right? And I remember doing it, the energy thing again. And so one of the things I did was, there's this butterfly tapping here. I'll show you that I do, where you tap your hands like this, crossed. And when this one taps, I have to look at it. And then that one you look at it, and that one you look at, and that you look at. And you just keep switching your eyes. And that's what I was doing. And, and I was like, I'm not feeling it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm totally forcing here. I can totally see this. And just popped in my mind, what if I just did this and just let everything just be where it is and stop trying to change the annoying things that keep happening? And what if I just do that and then just take a step? And it was probably like maybe half an hour later, and I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't been thinking, and everything seems to be going my way. So when I stopped forcing it, that was the thing. So here's, I'm going to just do kind of a light touch on it, on this emotional wave of what was going. So when I opened my eyes, I had a very blurry beginning, foggy. That's the way that I was really thinking about it. And interesting that we had a lot of haze and fog when I woke up outside. And the next thing was that, when I started to, I guess, this is the point right here. Instead of fixing or reframing, you pause, ask, what if I just let it be? And that was when it changed for me. That was really the change on here. So these are all notes about my different stages. And for this particular thing that you're looking at here, I mean, at least this part right here, I'll give you a little insight into my process, this part. To get this insight, what I did was I did a recording. So I do talk to text. I did a talk to text recording of reflecting on everything that kind of I went through. And then I plugged it into chat and I asked it, can you detail out my wave? So it can give me some insights. And then from there, I use that as inspiration to write my story. This one, I used it as inspiration to kind of write this. And I like getting that insight. It's sometimes having ChatGPT is like having just another team member to bounce some ideas off of and everything. So this is what it's pulled out from what my words, what I shared. And this way, this process, the reason why I like it is because I don't edit myself. So that talk to text, no one ever sees that document. I don't even go back and read it because it's actually one giant paragraph. And all I do is I upload it and then just ask to get this overview of it so I can detail it out. And then it just gives me a different kind of insight. It's like if you're making a flower arrangement, you have to keep going around. You either have to turn the vase or you have to walk around it so you can see it from the different angles, right? And that's what I'm doing. That's how I'm using chat on here. So it mapped it out for me. And then there was here's the part where the 30 minutes had passed that I had mentioned, like after I had done it, right? What if I just let this be? So we'll go back, waking up, it's foggy, blurry, nothing seemed to be going my way. And then what if I just let this be? That was the turning point. 30 minutes passed. And then that was my aha that I'd already kind of shared with you. And it just really became like there's a space, right, between when you notice what's going on, when you try to problem solve it, and then when it gets resolved. And the only reason why this got resolved for me was because I just said, what if I just let it be? So I did my butterfly tapping for, it probably was like 20, 30 seconds. And then I just went and I don't know what I did next. I think I went and poured myself a cup of coffee. And I don't know. I don't remember much after that, but I remember there was a point that was like, oh my gosh, this just kind of just took care of itself. And what happened was I signaled, change my energy. Let's switch the flow. And then I let it happen. It was all internal. I didn't actually have to think or force it to do anything. Now, previously, before I got to that point, I was doing this and I've got these thumb circle things that I do, and I have other things that I do. I have a lot of different options. And the thing is, though, I did it. Okay, now what's different? Darn, it's not different. And then, I would kind of recycle back through because I was forcing it. And that's really the difference versus allowing it. So, and then it mapped out from all the things that I told it, afterwards that and I love how they put it because it's a spiral, but I spiraled inward. And, one thing I did do, I bought a new yoga app. A little retail therapy. And I was like, oh, I see you. Okay. The other thing that I did was I really dug into, I have it posted here. It's on LinkedIn too, if you want to check it out. I took a Bob Dylan song and reworked the lyrics into something that meant me, and I shared it. And it feels vulnerable. It definitely felt vulnerable showing it. It's one of those things. I'm going to put this out there. No one's going to understand me, and no one's going to get it, and no one's going to even know if there's something about it they like. They won't even know how to comment on it, and so I won't even know if anybody's really reading it because I won't hardly have any comments. And that became just an insight into my own vulnerability, and I just kind of sat there and just let it be. I let it express itself without trying to fix it. And that's a key thing for me when I'm feeling really vulnerable, because when I try to fix it, then I create a cloud covering over it, and then it really is confusing to other people. So I kind of just let it. And I really did have this, I was describing it as melancholy. This is my word, not ChatGPT's word. But I was really describing it as like a melancholy that, this low emotion. And I went into this whole thing. I was asking myself, can you still vibrate, or can you still manifest at this low vibration where I was? And because it felt like a beautiful place to be, and I didn't want to change it. It felt like it didn't feel like when you have a low emotion and you feel sad, or you feel fearful or anxious or stressed or worried, or you want to be invisible. It wasn't like that. And it just had me thinking about how the thing is with some of those low emotions is you don't want them. And so is it the not wanting? And I started really thinking, and I don't have any complete clarity on this, but I was thinking about, there's high activity levels, there's high emotion levels, but there's low emotion levels. Like, how do we define these different vibrations and stuff? You can't spend your whole life in these upper vibrations, right? You kind of need the others to kind of balance it out. And I was like, but what if some of those lower ones are actually just as vibrant in manifesting your dreams as those high ones? And that's what I was thinking. I kind of embraced the melancholy part of it. Turns out it's in my my human design or gene keys, whatever you want to call it. And I had this thought. It was like sitting at the bottom of a pool, holding your breath, and it's quiet. Or there was this time that I tripped over the curb at a farmer's market because I was not paying attention, and I fell, and it was right in front of a whole bunch of people. And, my husband's like, are you okay? And a few people come over, are you okay? And I wasn't moving right away. I said, I'm fine. And I was just like, I'm just going to sit here. I'm just going to take a beat. Don't rush me to get up off my feet. I'm not looking to prove to everybody here that I'm okay, and I'm not embarrassed that I'm trying to hide that, look, I'm an old lady who just fell on the, in the middle of the street here. But I was just like, yep, here I am. I'm just acknowledging where I am, and I'm okay. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not fearful. I'm not necessarily excited about it either. But I was just kind of like being with myself. And that's what I was thinking today. And so I was really thinking about what can come from this melancholy state, that if you skip it and you try to get rid of it, you might miss out on something really cool. So that's what I have here. This is really all about, just being in this emotional wave, in this shift, and what regulating your body really means. It doesn't mean escaping everything, all the low vibrations. It's about just embracing yourself without the fear and without the worry that you're going to get stuck. And somebody, I'm going to leave it with this. Somebody asked me once, because I used to talk about being unstuckable. That used to be like kind of my tagline, like last year. And they said, oh my gosh, I don't understand how you can be unstuckable. I just get stuck too often. I said, oh, I get stuck every day. I get stuck all the time. I just know how to get unstuck. So getting stuck doesn't bother me. And I think that's what this melancholy was. The low vibrations don't freak me out. They don't scare me because I always know they're only temporary. They're not the bulk of my life. And I'm going to have them because I choose to be human. So I'm going to have them. It's just, I'm not afraid of them. And that's really, I think what today was all about to me is just reconfirming that.